Your uni, your team. From kick-off to the final whistle. This is the Shock Radio Sports Show.
Hello and welcome back. This is the Sports Show, the same time every single week, 6 till 7. I've got
Sam. Hello.
Nice to meet Sam. Back again.
Yeah, back again.
After
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, after your debut last week. And the returning officer,
Josh Bingham here.
Our local NFL expert.
Apparently so. I've been dubbed that now.
Yeah, you have. So we're going to have the usual stuff. City, United, men's, women's, Salford. And then we are going to get into NFL with the Super Bowl being on Sunday. But first, a little bit of Liam Gallagher and Better Days. That was Better Days by Liam Gallagher, as we were just speaking during the break. The song that I associate with leaving school, really. But less about my time at school and more about Manchester United getting schooled against Crystal Palace.
Woo!
That was good, that wasn't it? That was good.
That was fantastic.
Great little pun.
It's fantastic.
United lost 2-0 and it was awful. It was awful. Mateta, as he has been doing recently, he's got quite a few goals post-Christmas, just turned up, battered everyone, and Palace came away with 3 points. Do you want to talk us through it, Josh?
Yeah, well, I mean, what more needs to really be said after you've just explained that? It was an absolute thrashing for United, and well, for Palace it was a great 3 points because I think they've had a bit of a up and down season, but it'll be a 3 points that they'll absolutely need. And United now, they're once again 13th in the table. You escaped it a few weeks ago, I believe, and got up to 12th, and now you've been normal service is resumed.
The dizzy heights of 12th.
Against rivals Crystal Palace as well, league table rivals.
Well, your other rivals, Tottenham, are just 2 points behind you.
In 15th, are they still? I think they are.
I believe they picked up a win against Brentford.
Yeah, they did.
I think they're still behind us, which is damning of everything. I'm surprised Ange hasn't been sacked yet.
That's a shock.
I question whether he's to blame for Spurs' problems or maybe the amount of injuries they've had.
As well.
Daniel Levy as well.
Yeah. Obviously, United were bad, but is that the worst it's been under Amorim so far? It was an awful performance. Go on, Sam.
I mean, is there any more worse results that you can take from it that from under Amorim? But I think that's just kind of like where Man United are at right now. You know, you're loaning out Anthony, who you bought for $8 million a couple of seasons ago.
Add a zero
to Real Betis.
Another 80.
80 million, yeah. 80 million like a couple of years ago. Now you're loaning him out. I think it kind of shows what Man United, what state they're in. It's just like, look, we've signed all these players for big money. It hasn't worked, and now you're kind of like, you're facing it now. It hasn't worked, so you're just sitting there in 13th, just. I think it's a long time coming, really.
United have been a cup team for the past how many years, winning the FA Cup last year, which was quite a good run, an exciting run. United have got Leicester in the FA Cup, 4th round on Friday.
Oh,
that's
I know it's a change, isn't it? Thoughts. What do you expect from United in that game?
I think anything less than a win would be extremely disappointing because yes, they've drew a hard team. Like you don't really want to go into the 4th round and get a Prem side, but that's just the way it's gone for United this season. But Leicester are in absolutely horrific form. They obviously just lost coming off 4-0 to Everton. That was at Goodison Park. Obviously David Moyes' side having great run of form, but yeah, conceding a goal in 10 seconds. Surely United have got to find something now after all the players they've loaned out. You've got Patrick Dorgu as well, who signed from Lecce. So maybe it could be a turn of tables.
Should we talk about some of them transfers United have just... Well, not many have been permanent, but Rashford's gone to Aston Villa. Yeah. Anthony, we've mentioned, has gone to Betis. I nearly said Sevilla, then Betis is in Sevilla. United don't score enough goals. United have now got 4 senior attackers in that squad.
Ooh.
Getting rid of Rashford, 400-plus games for the club, scored a mental amount of goals. Is that going to be an issue, Sam?
I think the Rashford one really boggles my mind because I'm thinking Marcus Rashford, homegrown talent. He should be the one that stays there and kind of grabs everybody by the scruff of the neck and goes like, right, let's get out of this situation. We're in an awful situation, so let's get out of it. Let's try and win some games. So for me, it's got to be an attitude problem, regardless of if Marcus Rashford is up to the world class standard he was however many years ago. players like him should be the ones who stay at the club, want to fight and get them higher up the table. And it says a lot about the morale and, the attitude of the Man United players. If homegrown players, a Man United fan himself is just willing to go, oh yeah, I'm going to jump ship to Aston Villa on loan until the end of the season just so I can get a bit of Champions League football and not fight for the club that I support. So I think it is really interesting. Some of the outgoings.
Yeah, the first few games under Amorim, Rashford was firing.
Yeah.
He played as a central 9 and he was loving it.
Yeah.
Along with Ahmad as well, and Garnacho playing as like that front 3.
Yeah.
And it was really enjoyable to watch. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Yeah. It's, on a personal point of view, really upsetting to see him leave because I think he's my player, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like everyone's got a player that they associate with their team especially when they're like childhood.
Oh yeah.
And he's played for United for a decade nearly, and he's my player. And it's sad to see him go. I've got him on the back of one of the tops, and I think. Go on, Josh. You have to.
He's opened his mouth.
Right. Yeah. This is it now. I think it was a really good decision to loan
get
him.
rid of him.
I would have honestly. I think a loan wasn't enough. Maybe. I think at the end of the day, he can show that he's very talented, and it makes sense for him to go to Villa. He's getting Champions League football. I mean, he's got the number 9 shirt. What more can you really want? But his mentality just wasn't there for United, and I think we've been kind of living in dreamland a little bit for the past how many years he's been at the club, thinking, oh, this is going to be the season where he really breaks through and he becomes one of the best wingers ever.
Yeah, but 2 years ago he scored 30 goals.
But what happened?
He had
the season
43.
after?
He had 43 goal contributions for United.
Yeah, he had undoubtedly 2022. He had a really good year.
2022 was great, and the United team performed.
You guys performed fantastic, and
and then the year after, United don't perform and Rashford doesn't perform. Would it be safe to say that then he's the team player, not in the fact that he's willing to do everything for the team, but in the fact that he performs well when the team performs well?
Is that then a question as to whether he was performing well to begin with? I mean, he did have a very good year in 2022. But ultimately, I think Rashford isn't really a team player. I think that's one of his biggest problems. He's very much a self-focused player, and this is an issue we've saw with loads of Chelsea players over the past few years. We're now seeing it with Garnacho. He's developing a couple bad habits, kind of holding possession on his own, not really making them key passes. But I think with Rashford, it is time where he needs to make a change, go to a club where maybe he's not going to be starting every game. Obviously, he's not been for United anyway the past few weeks under Amorim. And who knows, maybe it'll give him a spring in his step, but I think that his time with United is coming very much towards an end. I think we've squeezed as much as we can out of it now.
Yeah, well, let's hope he does rejuvenate his form because, as a United fan, I've got to remember, it's just a 6-month loan. If he can come back and his form is what it was 2 years ago and he bags 30 goals a season, I'll be loving it. I will be loving it.
And you're making a bit of cash. That's what's important as well.
Yeah. Is it?
To a point.
Well,
I suppose it's not.
PSR and everything it is now.
Yeah, not as if United are short on money, considering the budget you give for your transfers.
Well, yeah. But talking about transfers, should we move on to the blue side of City, who have got a real war chest this January?
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
You never see that. You never see it.
Tell us about these, 4 signings and Haaland's new 9-year contract. Go on, Sam.
I mean, Haaland's 9-year contract, I think, is mental. I think that is purely just to stop Real Madrid for getting him on a free in a few years' time. They're just going right, we'll put him on a 9-year contract, so when Real Madrid do inevitably come knocking on the door, we can ask for silly money for him. And I think, players like that Marmoush guy, he actually looks like a pretty decent player, but I don't think he's the fit for City. Haaland works in the team because you can, as crap as he has been, at some points, that massive point in the season where City had that blip, he can do everything. You can rely on Haaland quite a bit, but with that Marmoush guy, runs in behind seems to be what his game is, picking up the ball and dribbling. City just don't do that.
That's not City's game.
Yeah, exactly. If he went to a Liverpool or something, I think he'd be great. Put Marmoush in that front three with, Salah next to him, then put Diaz on the left. He'd be absolutely fantastic. But
have you been playing Football Manager, Sam?
No.
No, really?
No, I haven't been playing Football Manager recently, no.
That sounds like you've been planning it all out.
No, but if you do that, Marmoush would have looked so much better for Liverpool rather than than City, where he's going to be so restricted. It's like Grealish.
The same was said about Haaland, though, wasn't it? That he's a counter-attacking player and not a possession-based player. And he has scored a stupid amount of goals, but would he be better in a Liverpool side where they do play more of a direct style of football?
You're only as good as your wingers are when it comes to being a striker. Very rarely do you really, unless you're a false nine, the likes of Roberto Firmino, I'll give an example of, where you don't need to rely on your wingers so much. Ultimately, yeah, I don't know. I think definitely he would have fit well at Liverpool. So I'm kind of, my heart kind of sank when I saw that signing announced, because I thought, oh, that Egyptian link up on the front with Marmoush and Salah would have been excellent. But it's the way it goes. I think that Marmoush is going to really fill the role that we lost with Alvarez, which was, a player who can also play on the wing, not just play forward, who can be clinical on the finish. I mean, even now in the Bundesliga, he's second top for most goals. Only Harry Kane's ahead of him in that regard. And look at the run Frankfurt have been on this year, and I think he has to be credit for a lot of that. So I think we need to wait and see. It could be a really good signing, and perhaps, City are covering their back for the inevitable day that Madrid do come in and snatch Haaland if Mbappe continues to have such a stagnant run.
The 200 million spent in January didn't help them on Sunday, though, did it? Arsenal dismantled City. Did we watch the game, lads?
Yes.
I didn't see it. No.
Should we fill him in? The game, it was a bit of a stalemate for 50 minutes. No side looked like they wanted to win it. And then Arsenal just went, we can win this, and did. Like, City weren't anything special. I don't think Arsenal were either.
It made me feel a little bit sick, actually, because I looked at it and I was like, wow, I've never seen a team recover to that extent in the second half in a long time. It was
quite a boring game for parts of it. It was very slow. There was the big thing lacking from City was there was no intent. They scored with Haaland, and after that, they just sort of...
They parked the bus.
I wouldn't say they parked the bus. It was just like they ran out of ideas, and that's something we've never heard of a Pep team, let alone a City team.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same story again every week, but it was a fantastic performance by Arsenal. And yeah, the fans are certainly giving it the beans a little bit. I heard a few Merseyside you watching us chants, and all I can really say to that is we can't really see you with that high up. 6 points in a game in hand, I heard.
Listen, you're not at the dizzying heights of 13th.
Oh, I know.
Try first in the Championship.
Oh, relegation.
They are the dizzying heights.
I'm itching for a relegation battle. Oh, inject that into my veins.
Yeah. I've been there, done that.
What have City got to do then? Because that 5-1, I thought they were turning it around a little bit. They're that poor form before Christmas, coming out of the Christmas period. They were looking all right. But they're still shipping goals. Like 5-1. It's not good enough, is it, for a Pep team, Sam?
No, it isn't. But I think it's just one of those seasons. It's like, the problem is when you go on like such a run where you've lost so many games in a row, it's really hard to get that out of a team in a season. Because, I know it's completely on a different level, but I've seen it before with my team, Leeds. We've been up and flying in first, and the next thing you know, you lose a few games and it completely ruins your season. Like City, and what's really funny is, a bad season for City is not winning the league. Like, genuinely, if they finish fourth, that would be great for any other team, but awful for City.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like they're performing at a level which is probably actually quite reasonable for a top six club, but because they've won the league so many times, did they three-peat it?
They four-peated it.
They four-peated it. There we go. They even four-peated it. So, like, I think because we're so used to that, we kind of look at City, we see them like hover around fourth and third and go, oh my days, like, this is really bad, but when in reality it isn't. So I think they've just got it in them. Seeing them lose 5-1 to Arsenal, it shocked me, but at the same time I was kind of just like, they've been pretty bad.
Well, they've got... Arsenal was just the beginning of the tough run of fixtures. They've now got giants Leyton Orient in the FA Cup, which is a real tough fixture. Then they just
that's going to be a rough
and
one.
then they go to Minnows, Real Madrid in the Champions League.
I don't know, Jeff, I don't know.
And then it's Newcastle, Real Madrid again, Liverpool, Tottenham, and then Forest, who are actually flying.
Yeah.
So they've got an awful run of form, but...
Can we just quickly touch on Forest? Because I think we have to credit the fact that they won 7-0 to Brighton. Wow. That is the best performance they've had since 1993. I mean, you have to really... It's honestly baffling. When
they're a school in counter-attacking football, and it is lovely to watch.
It's fantastic.
A different style of football, because I thought England was very gentrified with passing it out from the back, tiki-taka. Forest have done something completely different, and no one can really deal with them.
What I find with Forest is, and it's very similar to a lot of clubs that get promoted, Ipswich are very much the same, Luton, they just fight. They do it. They keep on going for the entire game. They have such a level of stamina, and they just don't give the opponent a minute to breathe. And
I think Brentford are the same as well.
Yeah, exactly. Brentford, especially at home, maybe Maybe not away. I don't think it's best to...
That mid-table, though, in the Premier League, you've got Brentford, Forest, Bournemouth are a real good watch at the minute under... is it Iraola?
Iraola, yeah.
Brighton are always there. Bit hit and miss this year under Hertzler, but the lad's not even 30 yet, so...
He's really young, yeah.
He's younger than some of his players. It's a real tight contest now.
Younger than James Milner.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are in the league, to be fair.
Absolute veteran.
Yeah.
Love that man. Made his first appearance in the Premier League. So.
Oh,
there we
yeah.
go. Youngest ever Premier League player at Leeds United.
2002?
2000, yeah, probably about that, yeah. 15 years old. There we go. Little fact.
Well, I like that little fact. I'll take that. I'll ask you this question on City then. Leyton Orient at the weekend. I think we all know. I'll be very surprised if they lose. And I'll present next week's sports show in a City top if they do lose.
Here we go. Come on, Leyton Orient. Come on, Leyton Orient.
I think City will batter them. Does a battering of Leyton Orient, which we are all expecting, help them to kick on? Because as we said, we've got Real Madrid twice, Newcastle, Liverpool, and then Forest in an 8-game run.
Win's a win at the end of the day. I think that that's the ultimate lesson. And yeah, if they do progress into the cup, that'll provide them a little bit of hope, because they have facing Madrid in the UCL knockout playoffs, I think is the full term for it. That's going to be quite a tough few games. And then of course Liverpool and Spurs as well, since Spurs just absolutely love ruining City's title chances every single year.
Yeah. Should we move a bit closer to home? Back up to Salford.
Woo!
Go on.
They were on last night. Did anybody catch it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've seen the result, and wow, what a game.
Me and Josh were completing a thrilling quiz in Revolution. And
you was. I kind of spawned in at the end.
Yeah, you just spawned in.
Took credit, and then we just ended up going home straight after.
Yeah, and, well, Salford drew 3 apiece. They were 3-0 down at home to Bromley. And I tell you what, real great fight and comeback from Carl Robinson's lads. Being 3-0 down, Cole Stockton scoring the equaliser in the 92nd minute. You've got to love it. It must be good at the Peninsula Stadium at the minute. They've not been great post-Christmas, granted. They've not won in 5. But before Christmas, they were excellent, and they rose to 3rd in the table. They're now sitting... Where are they sitting?
They're sitting 8th in the table.
Still 8th, yeah.
So, if you're a Salford fan, are you happy with Salford at the minute?
Yes.
I think you've got to be, yeah.
Why?
Well, to be fair, I think last year, they finished 20th in the league. So I think coming up to 8th, and considering how tight it is at the top, the 2 points off playoffs, it's going to be exciting, Coming down from 3-0 to draw a game 3-3, being 2 points off playoffs, it is exciting, because you're kind of like, oh, go on, we're playing this exciting football. We might be conceding a lot of goals, but we're also scoring a lot of goals as well. And it's kind of ironic, because Salford have one of the best defences in the league, and they've managed somehow to concede 3 goals. But yeah, it 100% is exciting. Being in those situations where you're trying to fight for something neck and neck, as much as you're like, oh, this is terrible because you've got everyone breathing down your neck, you're in the chase. It's fantastic feeling for a fan, and it makes those draws and wins feel 10 times better.
They were only 2 points off playoffs, and automatics they're 5 points off. Is it achievable? They've got Tranmere in the next game. Is it achievable, Josh?
Oh, 100%. And obviously Tranmere will be an interesting matchup, because they had a few struggles with them. I think it was October when they faced Tranmere, drew 2 apiece, to my knowledge. But I think, it's League 2. It's never over till it's over. And Salford are on a really good turn of form. I mean, we consider 3 months ago where they were 15th in the table. They were winning, drawing and losing the same amount of games. What score did you say? I said it was 2-2, wasn't it?
It was 0-0.
Oh, 0-0. Okay, so it was a draw. Right, there you go. I'll take that.
There.
Yeah. Half a point, I'd say. But no, I think we've got a really good chance this year, and Carl Robinson's done a fantastic job, because like you say, last season Salford were very narrowly going into the National League, and here we are now, potentially getting up into League One.
Tranmere's at 22nd, just outside, 3 points off the relegation zone. What do we think? Walkover? Go on, give us a prediction.
I think with games like this, it's League 2, and it's even though obviously you got people in awful positions and stuff, it is anyone can win, and it's just the scrappy nature of League 2. 7 teams can get promoted. You got 3 in automatics, and then the others in playoffs, and then 2 go down as well, so it makes it even more tighter at the bottom. So I think it'll be a really scrappy game. I think to say it'll be a walkover probably won't. If they were in the top 3, like absolutely fine, then maybe you could say that. But I think it will be a tough game because, you know, Tranmere won't make it easy at all, especially if they drew 0-0 with them. They know they can nick a point off them, so they'll think, why can't we do that again?
Perfect. That we've covered everything in Greater Manchester. The football, should we say, but we're ready for the NFL for Dummies by Josh Bingham. As it is a Super Bowl on Sunday. Who's playing?
Well, it'll be the Kansas City Chiefs, and they'll be facing the New Orleans Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes, and we'll get you that after this. That was the opener by Cortinas. Before that, we had Paradise by Coldplay. And now it's his time for Josh's time to shine. It's our NFL segment. Go on, Josh. Take it away, because I'm going to be honest. I ain't got a Scooby-Doo about NFL.
Even though I sent you like a 4-page Word document, and I do.
I've not looked at my emails.
It was called NFL for Dummies, e.g. Will Valentine.
Yep.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, it is ultimately one of the biggest sporting events of the year, whether you're a big American football fan or not. A lot of people love it for the sport. Some just love it for the halftime performance, which we can all talk about this one. Kendrick Lamar is doing the Super Bowl halftime performance. I mean, is anyone Kendrick fans here?
I'm not, but I can appreciate good music.
Won a few Grammys. Won a couple Grammys as well, so...
I'd cleaned up this year in terms of awards.
Imagine being Drake and a diss track made about you won a Grammy. You'd be absolutely gutted.
You'd be fuming, wouldn't
you? You'd be fuming. And now he's going to perform it at the Super Bowl as well. You'd be fuming.
What is your favourite part of the Super Bowl, Josh?
I just love it for the football. Honestly, American football is such a fantastic sport, and it's such a... There aren't many team sports where every single player just like totally relies on the other. It's not really about individual performances. It's more about how you can contribute to the rest of your team. Well, for the Chiefs, I mean, especially for them, there's a lot of pressure on them. It's they're en route for a three-peat, which has never been done in NFL history. The closest we had to it was the Packers, which in the first 2 years won the Super Bowl. They were defeated in the end by the New York Jets, which stopped them, of course, in that third year. But for the Chiefs, yeah, a lot of pressure for them, a lot of pressure for key players like Patrick Mahomes in the quarterback position.
It's a big name. It's one of the
only names I think you know, isn't it?
3 names I listed before the show started, and yeah,
he's such a key playmaker, and he's actually getting debated now as to whether he's one of the GOATs.
That doesn't shock me.
Whether he could rival Tom Brady, perhaps.
You play, Sam.
Yeah.
And you will be playing on our varsity show on Wednesday.
Yeah, will be, yeah.
26th of March. Why do you play American football? What is it that's in it for you?
To be fair, it was something different. I've always kept an eye on American football. I've never been like into it where, you know, I'm staying up until silly o'clock to watch a game. I've never been that committed to it. But like, I've always kept an eye on it. Like when the game became free on the Xbox or something, I'd always download it and play it for a couple months and then just forget about it. But with me, it was just kind of like the opportunity arose to play it. I was like, do you know, if the opportunity to play American football came up, I'd play it. And then the university had it, so I was like, "Oh, go on then, I'll play it." Next thing you know, I'm a couple months since playing a bit of American football, so it's just fun. It's really fun. It's like totally different to like our football, like in terms of like what the team's like, and it's like what Josh said. It's like if one part of your team doesn't work, more often than not, like the whole team won't work, and it's just good because there's so much togetherness in it.
And it's interesting because within one team in American football, you've got 2 totally different teams in itself. You've got your offense and your defense, and again, they go hand in hand. There's no point in having a really strong offense like the Chiefs do if your defense, if you don't have a really good defense. And it's the same with in the Eagles' case, they have a really strong defense, but if your offense doesn't back it up, then it's basically pointless.
You have individual positions for both offense and defense, and how many players do you have on each section, if that makes sense?
From what I know, it is about 11. Obviously, you've got your key positions on your scrimmage line, which is your set. If we're talking offense, we're speaking purely your centres, your guards, your tight end, you've got your wide receivers, right, who act as kind of a hybrid, and then you've got your backs as well, your 2 running backs or halfback and fullback. depending on what position.
What's the most important position?
Quarterback,
in the offense?
100%.
Why?
Well, when play begins, when you start a down, the centre will throw it back. It's called a snap, which will pass it straight back to the quarterback, and it's down to the quarterback then to decide where the ball gets thrown. Do you do a forward pass because you can only do one per down? Do you pass it forward, past the scrimmage line to a wide receiver or the tight end if they're deciding to push forward on the attack, or do you hand it back to one of the running backs to try and get a few yards in? Or do you just run yourself? And this is why we see some of the best players we've ever had in American football, players like Mahomes, like Tom Brady, like arguably I'd say Jalen Hurts, coming from an Eagles fan. Players like this are just changing the game because the quarterback is just by far the hardest position to play out of any in American football.
So your quarterback's your creative spark that drives a team. Is there a key position in the defence then?
I would say that's a hard one, really. I'd say your line backs are probably your key players because they're stopping the passing flow coming from towards the middle of the field, really providing that protection for your safeties who are hanging right towards the back. But with the defence, every position is extremely important because again it's all down to really what the quarterback, or if there's a running back coming forward through the centre, are they going to make a charge through? You've also got to keep an eye on your wide receivers. They could be charging it up the field on the wide angles, on the wings, and then potentially give you a hard time there. So for the defence, every position is important in its own regard, but I would say your line backs perhaps are the most important if there was one.
What position do you play, Sam?
So for the team here, I play wide receiver and punter because I've got a bit of a football background, so I can kick it. So they're my two positions.
It's a bit of a simple question. Do you enjoy it? What is the highlight of playing for uni?
I do enjoy it because it's like, I think you get like the feel of like, okay, you're representing uni here. You get to like travel to different places. Like, we're not a Bucks team yet. We're hoping to be next year, but like we played like a friendly sort of game against, well, as a development game against Nottingham. And, if you know about uni sports, it doesn't get much better than Nottingham. It's them and Loughborough always taking the number one spot off each other. So it was really good to get down there and play some American football. We got a game coming up against Leicester. I believe it's at the start of March, and then we've got another game, and obviously varsity against Chester, which is going to be really good. But it's just the thrill of being on there because it really does create an atmosphere. It's like in football, you rely on the fans to create an atmosphere. In American football, it's your teammates that do it. They fire up. Like, it is a game where, it's better to not be composed than to like go and just like give everything, be fiery, be like 100%, get that adrenaline pumping, because that's what you need. The last thing you want to do going into a tackle is to just stand there and take it. You want to be going back in and like, trying to like break the tackle and stuff. But there's a lot of enjoyment out of it. Although it may hurt a bit, it's fine. You get around that, and it's just a lot of fun to play.
Take it and keep going, keep moving as your team keeps moving. You said, you build each other up, you raise each other to a standard, and you got to meet that. Should we talk about Sunday's game, because that is what we're here to talk about. It happens once a year. It's probably the biggest sporting spectacle in the world. I think that's safe to say. With
definitely top 5, I'd say.
Yeah, I think it's still like World Cup.
Because you think of how many movie trailers are a big one, and the halftime show, and even like the adverts just for like Coca-Cola and everything else.
Oh, it's
and you have a dedicated show. It ain't a halftime in football, is it? It's like a hour break, is that right?
Yeah, it's a quite a long one, really. Just a massive performance. Obviously, like we say, we've got our halftime performance. Taylor Swift did it more recently, and now we'll be seeing Kendrick as well. But you're getting some of the biggest song artists in the world, some of the biggest film trailers. It's a real spectacle of an event, and if you ever get the chance to go, as hard as it would be and costly,
you're going to need a bit of money for that.
Yeah, exactly, but it'd be such an unforgettable experience. And like you say, the atmosphere in American football is just fantastic as well. We've got two massive teams, obviously the Kansas City Chiefs. In terms of if we're examining this decade, they are the team to beat. We had this with the Patriots last year, again, another American Football Conference team. But the Chiefs have kind of took that role now that the Patriots are on a bit of a downwards trend. And, it's a matter of if the Eagles can potentially stop that because, Eagles have only won one Super Bowl in the entire team's history. That was in 2018 to the Patriots when they were on that unbelievable form with players like Tom Brady on that offense. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure on both sides, I think, really. The Eagles to make it a second and for the Chiefs to make history.
Is that what you expect then, the Chiefs to make history and complete the three-peat?
I don't know, because to be honest, I was surprised that the Chiefs even made it to the Super Bowl this year. I genuinely thought Buffalo were going to have them in the championship game. It was literally down to a punt that caused it. It was right down to the wire, so I guess you'll know the pressure of that as a punter yourself. The game ended 32-29 to the Chiefs, and I mean I was gutted for Buffalo because I would have loved to seen them in the Super Bowl. It only would have been their fifth ever as a team, and Josh Allen could have finally got his chance to maybe win a trophy after so many years of hurt. But that's just the way football is. It's hard to play the Chiefs. They're a really, really solid team, and you can never count them out. So it wouldn't surprise me if they maybe picked up a third. But equally, the Eagles have looked fantastic. I think they've looked so strong. Again, I didn't know if they'd make it this year because of Detroit and how strong they were looking in regular season. But obviously, they had their own issues. They lost to the Commanders in the divisionals, again, which was a giant upset. And I think that just opened the door for Eagles to shoehorn the way in.
If the Kansas City Chiefs, I nearly read the wrong team out then, do win the three-peat, it would be historical and unprecedented. Something that we've seen in football, Man City do, win 4 in a row in the Premier League. What's that going to do for the NFL, Sam?
I think because the great thing about the NFL, which I quite like, is that you get rewarded like no matter where you finish. So because they have that draft, if you finish bottom of the league, you'll most likely get the best college level player and stuff. So I think with that, there's always going to be teams competing. Like everybody's always going to compete against each other. Like, of course, you may get teams that might have a massive drop off and be absolutely horrendous. You will get that, like in football, but because there's no relegation, the teams just keep building and building and building. And it's like, this Kansas City team, they ain't gonna like last like another like 5 odd years like at this level. The game just doesn't allow it. It happened with the Patriots. They had their good years. They won practically every year, and then they had a point where they fell off. It'll be the same with the Chiefs. They're just hitting a patch now where they've got an unreal quarterback. They're getting unreal players in. They're being really wise with their cap space as well, on like how much they can like sign people on contracts for. So I think we'll see this probably for probably 3 years max, I'd say. And then that's when you start seeing other teams starting to push through and beat them. And then eventually, just like however many years of Chiefs domination it's been will eventually end. Like it always will. It always does in NFL.
So it's a sport that punishes you for not taking your chances. And when you do get your chances, they're not frequent and they're not long. You've just got to take them. You've got to grab them with both hands and grasp onto them. Is that what you're saying? Yeah,
because naturally teams, because a lot of the time the players they don't really, you come across a rare player who has the passion for the team, but then usually it's about, okay, so this team, they may have done terrible last season, but they're offering me so much money that I'm getting right now. I'm going to move to there and get a trade or wait till my contract runs down and get a free agent. Everybody can jump about, and I think that's what makes it so great and competitive.
Perfect. We're going to quickly hop over to New Jersey for a bit of Bruce Springsteen. But after that, I'm going to press you for your predictions for the game on Sunday. That was Glory Days by Bruce Springsteen. I'm loving a bit of the Bruce Springsteen at the minute. But Josh, go on. Give us your prediction.
Okay, right. This is pressurising now because they're two very strong teams. I don't know.
Just say it, Josh. Come on. Go against your beliefs.
Just bite the bullet.
Come on, you Eagles. This is going to be the year. I'm going to say it now, right? Okay. I think Eagles. I think Philadelphia is going to come home. I think we'll get our second Super Bowl because it just, I think with the issues that the Chiefs have had this season, yes, they finished top in regular season in their own conference, but they had such a nice run going into this Super Bowl. Obviously, they had a bye from the wild card round because obviously they finished top. Had the Texans, who were probably the biggest underdogs of anyone who made it through to past regular season. And like I say, narrowly scraped through against the Bills. I think now with the Eagles, because their defence is just absolutely phenomenal. By far, that's the Eagles' best sort of area within this season. And like I say, we've got some really good scorers. Jalen Hurts is, I think quite an underrated quarterback as far as they come, who could give the Chiefs' defence a bit of a run for the money. And, well, the big one for me was Saquon Barkley, one of our running backs, and he has been unbelievable. Drafted him, of course, from the New York Giants this year, and he was always a player that had, amazing potential, but never really got to show it in a team like the Giants because they've been struggling for so many years now. But just he's been fantastic all year. He's covered overall 2,000 yards, which is more than any Eagles player this season. He's had 13 touchdowns, and his performance against the Commanders in the championship round was unbelievable. Some of the runs he made, I've never seen from any back ever. Did a little. He was a little bit of a fidget spinner at one point when he had a couple of the.
Oh no!
when he had a couple of the defense from Washington on him. What a game that was! But no, I think that Saquon Barkley is going to be a real key playmaker for Eagles, and I think it's going to be a close game, and the Chiefs are going to give us a good run for our money, but I think it's going to come to Philadelphia this year. I don't think the three-peat's going to happen.
Sam, go on. What do you think?
I think my opinion is, as much as it would bring me joy to see Philadelphia win and just have a different change for once, I just do think the Chiefs will win.
Boo.
I don't support them or anything. I don't care about them, but they just will win because Patrick Mahomes is just way too good. Like, he could.
Oh, come on, man! Cue the gif. You remember in Toy Story when they had when Buzz Lightyear was in that big aisle, and it was just a million other Buzz Lightyears around him. I feel like we should have that underneath, and then just at the top, Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT. Oh, the Chiefs are going to win it. That's just what it sounds like to me, honestly.
But you can't sit here and tell me that Jalen Hurts is better than Patrick Mahomes.
No, I can't.
No, you can't.
I feel like we're close to a fight in the studio here.
No. I don't want to fight because I just think the Chiefs will win. I'm just saying. I think the Chiefs will win. Look, Patrick Mahomes, arguably, he is the best quarterback in the league, and he's arguably, and he's getting into conversations already. He's got so many years ahead of him of being one of the best of all time.
But we've had the best defensive record this year.
True, but then when you come to Patrick Mahomes, he is just different. I think
supposedly, but you've also got players like Travis Kelce who have been in really bad form. Of course, the key tight end for the Chiefs, really, and there was a lot of talks of whether he'd actually retire after this season, but he's firmly quashed them. Said he could go on for many more years, but I think he's actually had his worst on record. If we're talking purely statistics, he's had his worst season since his 2013 rookie year. So you do have to look at it and think there are weak spots in that.
But they did manage to get through 15-2 though, so that's just kind of like what.
Yeah, that is very true. But
that kind of what gets me about it. I just think they're so good.
They are ultimately though in a really weak division, you could argue.
True, but they're still there, and they've won it multiple times. So I just can't see past it. I can't see past it. That's my problem. I can't see past it.
Right. Thank you very much for what has been a really serious and informative NFL debate. As someone who knows a whole load of nothing about the sport, I'm now a man and boy Philadelphia Eagles fan, and we're going to win on Sunday. Come on, Eagles.
I hope you do win.
Where can we find you, Josh?
Where can we find this? Well, you can actually find the Sock Sports Show on Shock TV's YouTube channel, and you can catch up on Mixcloud. Thanks for having me, Will. Yes.
Very welcome anytime. Sam, thank you for coming on.
That's been good 2 times in a row. Can I repeat it next week?
It's the part where Tyler Wagstaff finally comes back.
We'll see.
And on that note, we'll leave you with Babies by Pulp.